topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I'm your host for the next 50 minutes. I'm Steve-O, and we've got a really special show for you. We have been doing this for 12 years, and we try to break it down into 25-minute increments. But once in a while, you have a show that is so important that can relieve someone of a lot of headaches. And this show is one of them. We are going to be running for the entire 50 minutes. And what we've done is, instead of breaking this down by city or state, this is one of our national shows. So we will be broadcasting throughout the country. And I'm so glad to do it because I consider our next expert a friend. He has been with us for so long, has done so many shows, and you're going to love the way he explains things to you. Let me welcome my friend, Barry Fowler, Taxation Solutions.
Hey, good morning, Steve-O. This is a great opportunity to get information out to everybody. And that's one of the reasons I really love Ask the Experts and what you guys do here.
Barry, I got to tell you, we get emails on a daily basis, and people love your show. But what they seem to like most about it is the way you explain when someone's got a tax problem, which boy, that's a big burden on your shoulders. It affects you. It affects your family. And people love the way you explain things to them. And I got to tell you, if I had a tax problem, you would be the one I would go to. You've been doing this for a long time. You've seen it all, haven't you, Barry?
Pretty much. There are a few things that still surprise us as we're dealing with some of these new agents and how well untrained they are. And so it adds some new wrinkles to everything we do when we're dealing with the IRS and getting the resolution for our clients that, not only do they want, but they actually deserve and qualify for. And that's what we've got to do, is find every way within the law of the Internal Revenue Manual, with what Congress sets out there, to be able to get you the best deal and get you back on your feet so you can, still be a taxpayer but live your life without looking over your shoulder at what the IRS is going to do, without worrying about how you're going to, make your payments and your bills. And that's what our job is to help you figure that out and get you the relief on your IRS debt.
Barry, I got to tell you, a lot of people who write are embarrassed about the situation they're in. And you're like a doctor, you can tell me, you can be honest with me. And you always talk about this, that, there's people out there that are embarrassed of the situation they're in, and you can help these people, Barry.
Oh, yeah. And, there's no reason to be embarrassed with us. And, one, like we said, we've heard pretty much everything. we've seen pretty much everything. There's a few things in life that still shock you, here and there. Like somebody who's had tax debt or hasn't filed in, let's say 7, 8 years, and the IRS never did anything. That sometimes surprises me. But that being said, we've got to go through and diagnose what the problem is and how to get the best solution, out there for you. One of the things that we always get asked about is, the IRS and, are they our friends? Are they there to help? They say they are. They will give you every reason to give them all the information they're asking for. They're not your friend. Their sole and only job is to collect funds for the United States government. That's it. And if you put that in perspective, that means they're not working for you or I or the taxpayer. They're working for the government and strictly for the government. And that's what their job is to strictly collect funds. And they can be very, very aggressive doing it, not to scare you, because, hey, there's some people out there that may do a good job, working for the IRS. But again, at the end of the day, it's to get as much money into the IRS, into the government as possible. And that's what they're there to do. That's what their job is. That's what they get paid for.
Yeah, it's funny. Some people who've been listening to the show for a long time have not, they have not filed for the taxes. I don't know how long it's been, but they're more concerned on what could happen. One gentleman who wrote us, Barry, was 82 years old, is on a fixed income, and he has not filed in 10 years. And he said, I don't have any money. Will they still, he wanted to know, would they still go after him?
Well, they can. If he's going to owe money, or he does owe money or owed money from the past, it is a possibility. Now, if he's been being over 80 years old, he's been on Social Security for a while. If he doesn't have any other income coming in, he may not have even had a filing requirement. And that being said, there would probably be no tax debt out there. You've got to watch your mail, and if they're sending you letters, then we need to get out there and address it. But being in that age, unless you've been pulling money out of retirement accounts, or you have other pensions besides Social Security coming in, there could be some liability out there. We could take a quick look at it and determine if that's the case. And one of the things we always tell people is hey, check us out at taxationsolutions.net. Give us a call on our special tax relief hotline at 888-930-1016. And let us talk to you. It's free consultations, free phone call. We try to make this simple and easy for everybody, no matter where you are in the country, because we can help you regardless of where you are in the country. And let us help determine with you what course of action we need to go out there and do. Because if there's nothing we need to do, hey, we enjoy giving that free consultation and being able to tell you, hey, relax, don't worry about it right now. If you do receive that letter, you've got the hotline, pick it up, call, and one of our superheroes is going to get on that line and walk you through it and help you through your problem.
Barry, one of the things I like that you do is, if a person is probably more, I guess, an independent contractor, have not filed their taxes, the IRS is contacting them, you're going to need to go back and reconstruct the years that they didn't file, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And so we take a very stepped approach at everything we do. We're going to sit down and do a very in-depth tax analysis for you, determine what we need to go back and file, or maybe we got to go back and correct, or maybe we got to file amended returns. Whatever it is that we've got to go through and do, we're going to give you the best course of action. That being said, if you haven't filed, let's say 10 years, you may have substitute for returns filed by the IRS, which created the tax debt. You didn't file them, the IRS did. Well, the IRS doesn't know everything about you.
You're right
So
on this.
the investigations, they may know your assets, they may know what money you got. They know you got 1099s that came in as a contractor, but they're not going to put any of your business expenses against it. They're not going to add your kids. They may not add your wife if you've never filed together jointly. And all of a sudden, you've got debt that is astronomical. Is it correct? No. So we want to go back and we want to reconstruct what you've done and how business was in the past. Some of this we can actually use industry standards and apply against that 1099 so that we can say, hey, this is what we're approximately owing because it's reasonable. And they'll allow us to go in and do that. And now we've reduced that debt maybe in half, maybe 3/4 of the debt's gone away. It just depends on your situation. And then we get the current year returns, we get all those filed. Now we're at a reasonable or maybe more correct amount of debt that we can deal with from there. Other times we look at it and, we've gone back and reconstructed and done stuff, and the IRS actually filed a return that probably shouldn't have been filed, and it's in your favor. We're going to leave it alone. There's nothing else we need to do, and we'll move forward and maybe correct the debt, maybe get the solution in place. Maybe we just need to look at it and it's close to the statute of limitations and the debt's going to fall off, and we just want to get past that and let some of this debt go. So there's not a cookie cutter approach to anything we do. There's not a one shoe fits everybody. We're going to have to step into your shoes, walk down that path, figure out the best way, and then modify everything as we go to fit your needs, your situation, and what's going on with the IRS. So when you call, some of these really huge companies, you hear advertising all across the country and nation and everything about the IRS and your tax problem. They all try to sell you on the one thing that everybody loves, and that's an offer and compromise, where we're going to reduce your debt to, God, I hate this. You and I've talked about it for 12 years now, pennies on the dollar. What they're trying to do is sell you on the pipe dream. We all have that pipe dream. We're all going to win the lottery. If we play one lottery ticket, we're going to win multi-millions of dollars. If you pay these guys, you're going to get that offer and compromise. Well, not everybody qualifies for it. I hate to tell everybody that, but if you've got money, you got assets, including equity in a house, IRAs, 401ks, you name it, the IRS is looking at it, assets. And so you may not qualify for it. So, before you jump off the deep end and go with one of those guys, give us a call. We still offer that free consultation, even if you talk to somebody else, and let us walk you through it and say, hey, maybe you don't qualify. Maybe you do. We'll give you the right answer by sitting down and going through a free consultation with us. And it doesn't take anything but, 15, 20, 30 minutes to go through and do. And we'll be able to tell you, hey, this is where we think you should go. Now, does that make it 100% right in that free consultation? No, because there may be something that when we do an investigation with the IRS and pull transcripts, pull your complete records from the IRS, there may be something else out there that jumps out. But if you're not completely honest with us, hey, all I can tell you is this is what we think. You lied.
Based on the information they give you.
Yeah, this is all we can do. So, don't be afraid to give us a call. We're in a no judgment zone. Again, it's 888-930-1016. And that's that special tax relief hotline that's set up just for you to work on your tax problem and talk to you on a free consultation. Jump on it. Give us a call. Let us walk through it with you.
I'm going to paint a picture for everybody, Barry. I know you will know this. So you start getting letters from the IRS. And the things that go through your mind, Am I going to go to jail? Are they going to take care? And you end up putting a lot of pressure that you didn't have to, because if you would have called Taxation Solutions, especially for that free consultation, and then have someone to represent you who knows the laws, you could have avoided all that stress, because it is stressful when you have the IRS coming after you. But I'm telling you, once you talk to Barry, he's going to relieve a lot of that stress for you, because now you're going to know from a professional what your rights are, what he can do for you. And Barry's got a big bag of tricks. He's got something for everything, but it's to help you. And I'm telling, don't go through the stress anymore. Because I love, Barry, that once they sign with you, they don't have to talk to the IRS anymore.
That's absolutely correct. We step into your shoes. The IRS doesn't have a right to call you once our power of attorney is there, unless your power of attorney is failing to do what they're hired to do, meaning being in communication with the IRS. But we're in communication with the IRS. As soon as we get that power of attorney back, we've already put it into this central filing and get it registered with the IRS. But we're also turning around and making a phone call as soon as possible to the IRS to start working on the case and put holds if we need to put holds on things. Because the last thing we want is the IRS to come back and levy your bank account. Hey, I've seen it even worse than that, is they've levied your bank account, but then you're an independent contractor and they know who've been sending you 1099s, and they put a levy on them as well. So when you've done work and you're supposed to be getting paid for it, that company now got to send it to the IRS, and you get nothing. So you can't pay, material, supplies, your people. All that is taken before you even get the money. And so they can go to that extreme out there, not to scare you. Just want to put out there that, hey, these are the possibilities that do happen. We've seen IRS over the years come after people's homes, or if you've got a rental home, they definitely want you to sell it, or they want to sell it. And I've had some people doubt me on that, but you can go to the Department of Treasury website and see different things that are for sale, including foreclosed businesses. I've even seen liquor for sale in an auction on the Department of Treasury's website. So, there's all kinds of things that do happen that shouldn't happen, but that's because you've ignored the IRS, you've ignored their letters, you've done everything to avoid paying or putting on a payment plan or putting a solution in place. And it may be avoiding, but it also may be just not knowing what you need to do or how to do it. And, that's some of the big mistakes that people do make when they start dealing with the IRS. The other one is, when you're going out there and doing it yourself, you make the assumption that the IRS is your friend or they work for you. Yes, you pay. Well, if you haven't paid your taxes, you haven't paid them anything. But, as a taxpayer, you're paying into the government, and you would say, hey, these government employees work for you. No, they work for the United States Department of Treasury, the U.S. government. And that is their sole job and sole responsibility is to them, not to you or I or anything else. When you hire us, my sole responsibility is to you. I'm working for you. I'm there to defend you, defend your assets, and get you the best possible deal you can get with the IRS, whether it's offer and compromise, whether it's installment agreement, maybe it's non-collectible status. So like that 80-year-old man that is worried about tax debt, if he had tax debt, I could probably put him in non-collectible status. And as long as he lives till the statute of limitations runs out, he wouldn't pay a dime, and neither would his estate. The problem with that is somebody that's older, if they pass away before the statutes run out, any assets that are left is going to go to the government. But those are the kind of solutions that we've got to look at and make decisions on. I give a good example. We had a 85-year-old young lady, that came to us and owed quite a bit of debt, but she was more worried about money that was going to go to her heirs. And so we could actually structured an offer in compromise and got it approved. She still had good amount of money in a IRA and partly in a 401k, which we got them all combined and everything. And we were able to keep that exempt from that offer in compromise because of her age and the need for money. And the only reason she really wanted to go through that is to be able to say, hey, if something happened to me in the next 7 years, because that's how long statutes would take to run out, I would have something to still give to my kids, and it wouldn't just go to the IRS.
Wow.
So we look at every situation to make it make sense. And it only made sense to us because she really, really wanted to be able to give some money to her kids who have helped her out over the years and taken care of her. And so that's what her plan was. Others, we would just put them in non-collectible status and say, hey, let the statutes run out. If they do, great. If you have nothing else, it doesn't really matter. If you're only living on Social Security and stuff, then you need to be in non-collectible, and you just need to let the debt just go away, because if you do pass away, there's nothing there. They're getting nothing anyway. So why pay them?
Barry, it's funny. We get a lot of letters. People love your stories with clients. But we just got a text from Tom in Houma, Louisiana.
Hey, Tom.
He wants to know what your feelings are on Fresh Start. They make it sound so easy and good.
Hey, the IRS makes it sound easy and good. Most of the large tax relief firms will make the Fresh Start sound, hey, great. My attitude on Fresh Start is there's a lot of great programs within the Fresh Start. You've got to know how to use what is the Fresh Start program. But when the IRS talks about it, IRS talks about it as being a fresh start for you. It's actually fresh money for them. Because if it gets you to call in off their Fresh Start program and it's setting you up on an installment agreement without any financial records, hey, you owe this much and therefore you're going to pay this much and you agree to it, fresh money. That's all it is, fresh money. And it's coming from you and you're going to pay it in. When other companies are talking about Fresh Start program, it's available to every one of us. It's not their program. It's what we use within the system to either get things done an easy way, which doesn't make it right for you, or it's to use it in the most sophisticated way, is to find every single little rule in there to reduce what you're going to owe or reduce what you're going to pay, so that it saves you money and get you that tax relief between, penalty abatements, getting rid of some interest, maybe doing that offer in compromise that is available to you out there, or maybe doing installment agreement, or even looking at it and doing a partial pay installment agreement, which sometimes is much better than doing that offer in compromise. You and I have gone through this, and we get a lot of questions, and I just had a few questions come through to us here at info@taxationsolutions.net, which is our informational email address. And they were, asking, hey, what's the benefit of doing a partial pay installment agreement? And the benefit in that is you would pay a lower amount. And if you're going to compare it to an offer in compromise, you may have to pay whatever you're going to compromise within, 24 months or, maybe within 5 months, depending on the amount of money that's out there. But then it comes with a 5-year compliance requirement. And many people don't think about it. So when your offer's sitting out there pending, you've got to be in compliance. Once they accept an offer, you got to stay in compliance for a full 5 years.
Wow.
That means everything. If you had to make estimated tax payments, you got to make those right. You got to file on time. You got to make sure all the tax that would be due has got to be paid by April 15th. You screw that up, and all the debt comes flying right back with the statute of limitations where it stopped when that offer got submitted. So you could be 4 years into this after they've accepted it, which means basically it could be 5 years from the date the offer was filed. And the debt all comes back because you messed up that 1 year, 4 years out. With a partial
5 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is. And if you've had compliance issues, I can almost guarantee that there is a high percentage that are going to have compliance issues again. So, sometimes we look at a client and go, hey, the partial pay installment agreement is much better for you because we know what the track record has been. And we got to get, maybe 2, 3 years or 4 years into statute of limitations run out and the debt goes away anyway, or the majority of it. So that we're going to use that partial pay installment agreement instead and make that small payment that the IRS will require you to make for maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and the debt goes away, and the savings is almost as good, if not greater, than what an offering compromise is. And that's what we've done with people when we sat down and looked at it and compared. Hey, is the offering compromise better, or is the partial pay installment agreement better? That's one of the benefits of having an enrolled agent that has the experience to do things right, rather than doing what, hey, that pipe dream may be out there for you to say, hey, that almighty grail is, that offering compromise.
Hey, Barry, what is the biggest misconception that everybody has?
That this is easy. Matter of fact, we had a client yesterday who he owes over $50,000. Well, potential client owes over $50,000. We gave him a fee, and he's like, "Well, that ain't worth it. I can do it myself."
How did you keep a straight face?
I'm glad I wasn't on the phone. One of our consultants was on the phone talking with him. He called me up and he goes, "Hey, we got this guy, and he doesn't value your service." And I said, "Well, what'd you say?" He says, "Well, I just told him I was glad he wasn't talking to you or one of the other old agents out there with the experience we have, and because you probably would have given him an earful." And I said, "No, actually, what I would have said was, if you don't value my service, you don't think what we do is difficult, pick up the phone and call them. Go ahead and wait your 2-3 hours, maybe on hold with the IRS. And then when they come on and they tell you your payment plan is going to be $750 a month, and you've got money in the bank and they want that $2,000 or $3,000 right up front as well, you just say yes, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever it is, and suck it up, buttercup, and take your payment plan. Because it's easy. And it is that easy just to accept whatever they're going to put you on. Now, the hard part is making that payment every month that you can't afford, that you just agreed to. The hard part is coming and parting with that couple thousand or more that's sitting in your bank account that they want immediately, and you've got to go in and pay. The hard part is when you can't make that payment, then setting up a new payment plan with them again. Why not use somebody with the knowledge and the experience to set up a payment plan that A, you can afford, B, is the right amount, and C, is somebody fighting for you? Because I guarantee you, if they told you now you got to pay $1,000 a month and you can't afford it, you're going to be emotional. You may go off on them, and then you got to start all over again. And they make notes. And the next revenue agent that you're going to talk to, or collections person you talk to, is going to have every one of those notes. And that payment plan is still going to be $1,000, and you're still going to be upset, and you're still not going to get anywhere. but our job is easy.
You know,
Second misconception that is out there is the IRS is your friend.
I could see Barry people thinking, oh, I can outsmart them, or, I can pull one over them. You don't do that with the IRS, do you?
Oh, no, it's the IRS outsmarting you.
Yeah.
I mean, they are trained to ask the questions that are the leading questions to get the answer out of you. Not just in collections, but let's say you're going through an IRS audit and they've got questions to ask you that are traps. They're actually going to require an answer out of you. And when you answer them, you've just basically got rid of every single tax deduction that they're wanting to challenge on you because you answered it wrong. So the beauty of having us like on an audit or something, or even in collections, is we don't have to answer the questions. We can actually stop, say, oh, I need to get with my client. Let me go in and verify some stuff. The question goes away invariably. Also, if they do continue to ask that question, I can go back and we can reformulate the answer and put the paperwork together that meets the answer to that question as well, so that those tax deductions, or maybe we get that lower payment plan in place, and we can work through it with you to be able to get there. I've had clients that actually started out representing themselves in an audit, and their whole mileage log got thrown out. They answered the questions wrong. They provided, let's say, not only did they get the mileage log, but then they wanted oil change receipts. So they provided oil change receipts. And the oil change receipts shows that, hey, they got an oil change in January and it was, let's say 30,000 miles. And they got an oil change in August and it was, 35,000 miles. But on their mileage log, they're reporting that they drove 25,000 miles for the whole year. Well, it doesn't work. I mean, that is why they are asking for that information and those things for the support. Whereas I could have gone in and said, hey, they do oil changes themselves. They don't get them done anywhere else. They haven't had any other work done. We're not required to provide that. We're only required to provide actual mileage logs. If you want to come out and see the client's odometer on the car, come on out. I'll meet you at the car. Whatever you want to do. I've never had a revenue officer or IRS agent come out and check an odometer on a car. So, we can play all kinds of games here. But what we're trying to do is make sure that, we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's and doing this the right way and going down the right path to save you, whether it's an IRS audit, whether it's in collections, whether you've got a revenue officer you're dealing with. Our job is to protect you, the taxpayer, and protect you not from the IRS only, but also sometimes protect you from yourself.
Barry, I did not know that you also get involved with clients who are going through an audit, because that does make so much sense.
Oh, yeah. What we try to do is guide everybody. If there's an IRS issue, we can do it all. We do audits on a very consistent basis when somebody's going through an audit. We also do the tax prep. We will also, of course, collections. We go and work within the IRS to the highest levels of the IRS. The only place we don't go into is tax court. We do have some tax attorneys that we work with as well, that if we ever needed to get into tax court, we could do it. As an enrolled agent, like I said, we can only represent to the highest levels of the IRS. We just don't enter into tax court. Now, that being said, we have guided some people in tax court, and we're able to go through and help them in mediation or help them outside of court. I've been in court a couple of times with our clients, not to represent them, but to more help and guide them on what their tax situation is, and maybe give them some guidance on and answer some questions on taxes itself. But most of the time, we'll resolve anything going to tax court through appeals and mediation with the IRS, then entering court. If you really want to go to court and stand on principle, sometimes it's just going to cost you a heck of a lot more money than what it's really worth doing. I mean, principle gets expensive. And I tell people that all the time is, hey, if you want to fight on principle instead of on fact, it becomes a lot more expensive to do those things. And the attorneys will charge you an arm and a leg to fight for principle. And I've looked at tax court rulings. I look at them all the time when they come out to see what the rulings are in favor. And most of the time, we're going to see that, they're going to rule in favor of the IRS. We see that a lot when the rulings come out in favor of the taxpayers. We're going to use those rulings to support things we do in the audits as well, so that we've got our basis and our ducks in a row to support your audit.
We just got a text from Ben in Norman, Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, Barry.
Okay.
Just found your show. What an incredible show. I take it you're in Texas. What do you do? Oh, can you handle a client in Oklahoma, and how do you do that?
Absolutely. We're nationwide. I've got 50 offices around the country that we use predominantly if we have to meet with the IRS. All of our enrolled agents, or the majority of them, are based here in Texas. But what we do is we gather information. We've got secure portals. We've got Zoom. We've got phones. All of our contact is with the IRS via phone. That's the way they do business. I've had probably in the last 40 years of doing this, I should say in the last 20 years of doing this part, I've had maybe 2 in-office visits with an IRS agent. So I can work with the IRS anywhere. And, we've got offices here in Houston, but again, I've probably been down to the IRS office in the last 20 years, probably twice. And that's been about it. Otherwise, if I need to transfer a case here because I'll have books and records or whatever here for you, we would transfer the case into a revenue officer here locally. If we've got to work with somebody there in Oklahoma, that's not a problem. We do that all the time as well. We make it as simple and easy on you as possible. In our solutions and working with the IRS, everything's nationwide. So it's really simple and easy for us to work that way.
You just work federal taxes, right, Barry?
No, actually, we do state taxes as well. There's some states we don't. So I'll be perfectly honest. I do not like dealing with California and refuse. And New York is pretty much another one, but I have taken a few cases out of New York and New Jersey. I deal a lot with state taxes in New Mexico. So, being a nationwide tax relief firm, we'll take on the state resolution as well. Ohio is another bad state for taxes, and we see a lot of tax liability coming out of Ohio as well. And we'll deal with those taxes there also.
You just said about being in business for 40 years. Barry, I got to tell people, because I do a lot of Google and Yelp, and I got to say a lot of these, quote, big companies have the most negative reports on them. And it's a lot of people had paid them and they never returned phone calls. I mean, you know this, Barry. But you also see those companies don't stay around long, especially with all the negative reports. You've been around for a long time, Barry. And that should tell people that, your clients are happy with how you represented them?
One of the proudest things for our tax relief firm now, taxationsolutions.net has only been around since 2008, but we've got an A+ rating at the BBB. I'm very proud of the fact that we've maintained that kind of rating and everything. I don't ask all of our clients to go out there and do reviews for us. I don't ask them to go and rate us at the BBB. Those that have done it on their own. And so we don't push that to people to go out there and rate us on Google and do that. I just take pride in the fact that my clients are happy. My clients, I've provided them a service and gotten them what they do qualify for. Not to say that everybody is going to be extremely happy, because there's going to be some people, we may put the best solution they could possibly get in place, and they're not going to be happy with it because they think their neighbor got a better deal than them, or somebody else they talk to got a better deal with them, or they see one of these ads out here, and the ad says, "Hey, I was able to settle this for
pennies on the dollar,"
and not everybody qualifies the exact same way. Everybody's situation is
Right.
different. And that's what we kind of go through and discuss with you. We were just talking the other day about a client who, we saved him, close to $500,000, and he wasn't happy with us. He didn't give us a bad rating or anything. He just, took it out on me that I didn't do better for him. He still owed a couple $100,000, but we saved him more than $500,000. And in that situation, sometimes you're just sitting there shaking your head going, but I told you this is what we could do and this is where we would be. And you're still not happy. No, because I just saw this ad where this guy was talking that, he owed, $50,000 and only paid like $100 or $1,000. Hey, everybody's situation is different, but your savings was much greater than he ever got, even in that ad. And who's to say that ad was, a correct ad either? It could be somebody just saying, hey, this is what, we do. So, we've got to look at it and say, hey, this is where we're at. But again, A+ rating at the BBB. I couldn't be more proud of the fact that we have that there, that we provide great client service to our clients. We're in communication with you every single month. Now, a lot of times, man, I have some clients that tell me we call them too much, which I didn't think was possible. But when we're hot and heavy on a case and the IRS is hot and heavy and we're trying to get paperwork to them as quick as possible, we may be in contact with you every day, trying to get information. And that means we need information really quick because they're either going to take action or we're trying to get something resolved. So we may be sitting and offering compromise, and we may have that offer out there with the IRS for 6 months, 8 months, and nothing happening. Every month we're in contact with you. We're telling you, hey, we're just waiting on the IRS. It's still pending. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, we get contacted by the offer and compromise unit, and we need paperwork immediately. And we got to get it to them. And we only have maybe a week or 2 weeks, whatever we've been able to build in to get that paperwork back to them so that we can satisfy their inquiry and get this offer, approved. And so now we're all of a sudden in contact with you, every day, or maybe even twice or 3 times in a day, saying, hey, you said you're going to get it to us. We got to get it. Our deadline's coming up. We got to do this. We got to meet these deadlines and everything. So, that's one of the things that, we're also very proud of, is that we stay in communication, letting you know what's going on, where we're at. We don't want you to drag your feet. When we ask, we want to be able to get that information as quick as possible so we can keep things moving for you, so that we can satisfy what the IRS needs, so that we can get that tax relief, that solution in place. So that's where, we go, and we err on the side of being in communication and being on top of things for you.
Barry, you must be so proud of the reputation that Taxation Solutions has.
I am. I think the proudest thing that I could say is I'm proud of our company. I'm proud of our staff. Our staff does a wonderful job with everything they do for our clients and fighting for tax relief. I think the proudest moment, though, for me is before my father passed away a couple years ago. Him and I were sitting down talking, and he looked at me and he goes, "Son, I've never been more proud of you and what you do and how you handle your clients. And I could have never, ever been in business doing something like this, for myself. But I have to admire what you've been done and what you've been able to accomplish, for your clients." And, having a father that tells you that it put me through the roof. My head was, huge out there. And I find that, not just my clients telling me that, hey, we like what you do, but your father telling you those kind of things. And I'm kind of getting choked up thinking about him. But those are
Let's tell people
how they moments in life,
I hear you. Let's tell people all the different ways that they can reach you.
All right. So, yes, I haven't been very good at this today. But you've got to reach out to us at 888-930-1016. Again, 888-930-1016. Or go to our website at taxationsolutions.net. Again, taxationsolutions.net, and click Contact Us. One of our representatives, one of our consultants will be on the phone with you and call you if you want to communicate a little bit through email. We can start out doing that. We do want to be on the phone and talk to you. We want to be able to gather information from you to be able to tell you, hey, this is what we can do. But again, it's a free consultation. It's a free phone call. It's even free to connect with us on the internet. And it begins with either going to taxationsolutions.net or picking up that phone and calling that special tax relief hotline we have. 888-930-1016. Again, 888-930-1016. And we're going to post this up on our Facebook page at Taxation Solutions Tax Relief and some of our other pages across the country as well. So if you want to rewatch this or want to send it out to a friend, let them connect with us on Facebook even on TikTok, LinkedIn, and I can't think of all the other social media.
Well, this show will be always on YouTube, iHeart Library, Facebook, Spotify. You can reach any way. All the shows will be there. Barry, I am so blessed that we have Taxation Solutions, but more importantly, we have you, who I consider a friend. Barry will be back again with us next month on Ask the Experts. Barry, have a wonderful weekend. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Steve-O. I appreciate it. Thank you to Ask the Experts and the radio station. Again, reach out and call us at 888-930-1016. Let us get started helping you today, like we help many people all across the country. Thanks again, Steve-O.
That's Barry Fowler, Taxation Solutions. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.